and I'm now going to be raiding along the coast of California. I am going to destabilize the Spanish government here so that Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, all these countries can gain their freedom. And now, I have raided, it's 1818, October, I have raided Portray, taken that out completely. I have raided Santa Barbara, and now I'm on my way to San Juan Capistrano. Here they have some excellent wine. Speaking of wine. It's a heck of a lot better than that!
Well, I'm sorry, you know.
What are you, a poor man? You're dressed pretty well.
No, I'm fine. Look.
Hold it right there. Hold it right there. See, I knew you had some money. I will take my leave now, sir.
Yes.
Stay right there.
We have to report now. People actually know that there was privateers raiding California. Not a lot of people knew about that. Definitely Monterey. That northern territory was raided. Santa Barbara was saved because the friars actually got the natives to kind of march around in a circle around the hill, so they make it look like they had hundreds and hundreds of native troops. So they decided, oh, let's skip this place, and they went down to San Juan Capistrano, where from what we have found out that Capistrano was actually halfway burned because of the raid over there. And they used to celebrate that a time of error, and then of course they stuck more with the return of the swallow. So after this independence from Spain, of course the rancheros came to life. And with the rancheros, of course, you have lovely homes, you have cattle, you have families, and then of course you got the good workers that were there, the vaqueros. How many people love to ride horseback? Then you should join our California force. We need Californians, yes, especially young, strong men. And even though he is now gone, we do pay people here in old coins. Would you like some, sir? Would you be willing to join us? Maybe we can get our vaquero to come over here and talk a little bit about what they do and see if you still want to volunteer. See, but like I said, ranchero, pay good. Señor, ¿cómo está? Yes, ¿cómo está? Habladas, por favor.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
¿Cómo están?
Bien.
Okay, voy a empezar, excuse me, I'm going to start with my part of the story. I am a vaquero, Spanish for cowboy, and that was one of the cultures that Spain brought to California was the cattle trade, the cattle industry. They brought horses and cows to California as well as other parts of the whole territory, and they flourished. This land was perfect for raising cattle. There weren't as many trees as there are now. It was mostly just grass and large brush, and that's pretty much what you would need is to raise, pastures. And there was the whole valley from here to the mountains was just good pasture, and it was ideal for raising cattle. It was their main industry for a period of, let's see, maybe 60, 70 years before a severe drought hit the region in the 1860s. And the industry by that point, it was already changed over toward, when California became part of the Union. The industry started changing and everything went more toward agriculture. But I'm here to talk about the vaquero. And the vaquero was a very, very skilled horseman. He would spend days out in the range, checking on the cattle, rounding them up, separating the sick from the healthy, tending to those the cattle that need to be cared for. And about maybe twice a year, or when he needed to round up the cattle, they would do the matanza, which was basically just a big roundup where they would just round up as much cattle as they can and slaughter them simply just for the hide and for the tallow, for the fat of the cow. And the cow fat, which is known as tallow, was used to make soap, candles, fuels for lamps. It was used to make all sorts of products. And the leather was used for making shoes, hats, clothing, anything that required leather use. And most of the raw materials were traded off the ports here. The port of Los Angeles. That's always been a very popular trading port. And they, all those raw materials would pretty much wind up in the East Coast, usually to Boston, Massachusetts, where the factories would produce shoes and other products, and sometimes a lot of those goods would come back to California. So the vaqueros were purchasing shoes that they pretty much provided the raw material for, but the factories were in the East Coast. So, and it wasn't just the United States that traded with the cattle traders here, or the hide and tallow trade. There were other countries as well. And a vaquero would always ride on horseback, if not wearing a poncho, some sort of a capote or some sort of a cape to cover themselves from the dust. They weren't usually armed necessarily. If they were armed, they would be armed with a knife and maybe some sort of a short sword. This is basically a riata, and it's pretty much just a horse whip to get the horse going. And I don't have a horse, but a vaquero, California vaquero, spent most of his time on horseback. He basically lived on horse. He did everything on horse. If he had to walk from here to the end of the property, he would go on his horse and try to transport that. Just go ahead and do it that way. They wouldn't normally walk. It was just like before. The horse is right here. So that's sort of like how we're all spoiled with a car. So, and there were plenty of horses.
What's a car?
Automobile?
Go right ahead.
Yes, you all used your automobiles and used your horse. The clothing, go into the clothing a little bit. These pants were purposely made to look very fancy and decorative because they were very flamboyant in that matter. They like to show their wealth. The wealthy vaquero was shown his wealth by the types of material he would use on his clothing. Usually silk and fine material, but representation of their wealth. This is an early form of the chaps, and this will protect the vaquero on horseback. On horseback, hundreds of years ago, before there were trees, there was a lot of brush around here, like we mentioned before, and some of the, especially out in the desert, where there's cactuses and thorny bushes, this will protect the legs when they're on horseback. And it's the most exposed part on horseback toward the vegetation, so it provided plenty of protection of that. And so the cattle industry was a very good, and it was a very wealthy industry for them, and California was very isolated at the same time. So that isolation pretty much allowed them to develop their own culture and their own identity. And maybe I can go into the Mexican War now.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, let me give a little introduction to that. Basically, the Mexican War was actually started, for those of you who do not know, by the United States. Because what happened was Texas became independent. They had their revolution. They wanted to defend the Mexican Constitution of Mexico from 1824. And Santa Anna, General Antonio Santa Anna, said, no, said, I am the dictator, you follow my rules or else you're pirates and we kill pirates. So what would you do? You fight for your independence. Texas became independence. Of course, everybody knows about the fabulous Battle of the Alamo. The defenders died. Few people know about the Battle of Goliad, where 400 Mexican Texans were actually massacred by order of Santa Anna, because even though they